Hi guys, so recently I was looking at the YouTube Studio app and you can see what other videos your viewers watched. And I came across this video by Goop Scully where he drew in the like 2000s anime style and I thought that looked really fun, so I really want to give it a go. Right, so first things first, I made a Pinterest board. I'm gonna say we've got plenty of references. Now I just have to decide what I'm drawing. I think I might just draw myself. Okay, so I've done this sketch, like a really rough sketch, kind of mostly focused on just getting the like anatomy down. Then I did the liner. It was relatively straightforward. I used a lot less line variation than I usually would, and I also tried to keep it very, very thin because that's what most of the drawings I saw had. Then I moved on to the colouring. At first I made it a lot more saturated, but then I colour picked from this drawing I found. All of the colours were very desaturated and the shading was a lot more grey than I'd usually do it. So I've stuck to colour picking from this drawing. And yep, this is how I actually colour. I just block areas in and then erase, because I find it easier to then follow my own line art. Then it was time for the eyes. This is the bit that I was the most excited for. I wasn't quite sure how to do it, but I blocked them in with the base colour and then kind of scribbled on top of it, trying to blend things out. I later moved on to using an airbrush, which I found a lot easier, and realised that the top of my eyes were kind of a bit messy and I wanted to fix that and make them look a bit more like the reference drawing I was using. However, no matter what I did, they just looked kind of weird, so I kept going over it and I just wasn't quite happy with the way it looked. And I decided to experiment with the proportions a bit more because I think the head looked a bit too small and the body was too like big. So I expanded the head and I made the eyes a lot bigger, so it looks very different. Let me know which one you prefer. But I also decided that I didn't really like the gothic outfit. I thought it would be better pink, so I think it was worth it. I think this looks a lot closer to the actual style I was going for. Then I added a bit more contrast and also added some accessories. After that I played around with the background. I thought about adding some like extra PNGs on top of the drawing, but none of that really looked good. I ended up just adding some pink airbrushing around, make it a bit more atmospheric, I guess. And this is the final result. Let me know what you think.